Hello and welcome to the full review of the Asus Zenfone 2 laser phone. I'm going to do a quick review of the phone today for you. First of all, let's just go through the specs on this phone. So the phone has Snapdragon 615 processor. It has 3 gigs of RAM, 16 GB of storage. It comes with Android 5.0.1 Lollipop, and also it has a 5.5-inch IPS LCD 1080p display with Gorilla Glass 3. Second thing about this phone is the build quality. So the phone is made of plastic, but it has a brushed metallic feel and look to it, and which looks really good and makes it look premium. It has some weight to it as well, which is it's not too heavy, not too light, so that makes it feel good in hand as well. So now let's get into the screen. Let me talk about the screen first. So as I mentioned, it has a 5.5-inch display. Um, it has auto brightness, which all phones do, but just wanted to mention that the maximum brightness on this phone is not too high. I mean, it's okay, it's manageable. In daylight, you can view the screen, but it's not as clear as the Samsung Galaxy S6 or other phones out there. Also, worth mentioning is the minimum brightness. The minimum brightness does not go too low. It will bother you at night if you have turned your lights off and you're trying to use your phone. It's going to bother you. For that, I use an app called Screen Filter just to dim the screen a little bit more, and so it gives me a better experience at night. Second thing I'm going to talk about, sorry, the third thing I'm going to talk about is the Zen UI. So the Asus phone comes with the Asus Zen UI, and it's a pretty good UI. Runs very smooth, has a lot of features as well. So I'm going to walk through some of the features under settings. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the Zen Motion feature. In here, there's a lot of touch gestures that you can use. So the power button on this phone is on the top, and it's really hard to reach it every time you need to turn on the phone or turn it off, especially if you're checking your device multiple times a day. So the double tap to turn on or off is really helpful. So just double tap and it turns off, and double tap on and it turns on. The second thing is uh, the the gestures. So it has all these gestures here that you can quickly do to open those apps. For example, um, you can just draw a C and it'll launch the camera app, or just a V to launch the phone app. So, and it only works if your phone is turned off. So if I were to do a V, it'll just turn on the phone, and that's, I think, a really good feature. If I were to do turn the screen off, do a C, and there you go, the camera is on. So I think that's a really helpful feature that they've incorporated in their device. Next, I'm going to talk about the one-handed mode. So this is a really helpful uh, tool for this phone. What happens is if you double tap your home screen, once it's activated, it basically changes to a one-handed mode where the screen size really shrinks down to make it easier to reach other corners of the phone, and you can also expand the size to whatever you like. If you want to move it to to other side, so I think just hold, I believe. Oh, so I don't think you can move it to the other side, um, but yeah, this is to go back to the full screen. Okay, so that was just a quick run through. I don't normally activate this just because once it's activated, the home button takes a long time to respond. So I just keep it off because I go through apps really quickly sometimes, and I'm pressing the home button. Next, let's talk about the camera app. So as I mentioned, the special thing about this phone was the camera. They added a autofocus laser to really capture any better pictures, and so I think that was a really good thing for them to do. Let me just turn off the flash here. Okay, so there are different modes. Auto, manual. You can you can change your focus, ISO settings, your exposure and white balance. So it's helpful if you want to use it manually. The second feature here is the HDR, this beautification mode. Super resolution mode is really interesting. It allows you to, when you capture a picture, it captures a lot of pictures and stitches them together to make a high resolution picture. There's low light, which mm, normally the phone would suggest you automatically when you are in a dark area. There's night mode. Depth of field is for snapping pictures when you're, for example, taking a picture of something really close and it'll blur everything else in the background. So that's a nice feature. There's effects mode, different effects mode that you can go through. For example, hearts or snow or whatever. Um, I haven't used this feature, but it's there. There's obviously the selfie mode, the front-facing camera, which is 5 megapixel, takes good pictures. Then there's the GIF animation, mode where it takes a bunch of pictures or a video and then creates a GIF for you. And I thought that was a really good feature. Then there's the panorama mode, miniature, where it would allow you to focus on just the part where between the two lines, and everything else would be blurred out, and you can change it to a circle as well. So it's a good feature if you want to be creative. Then there's time rewind. I haven't used the feature yet, but I believe it would allow you to make videos that would go backwards, I guess. Smart remove to remove people uh, from the um, from the picture if they accidentally come in. Then there is the all smile picture. It takes 5 pictures for you, and then you can tap and choose on faces to see which picture you like the most. Then they also have slow motion and time lapse, which I'm pretty sure all of you know what it is. Also, under settings, there are a lot of settings. You can change them. I've changed the optimization to manual. I'll talk about that in a minute. There's the options to, for saturation, contrast, sharpness, and this is in addition to the manual mode. So you can have auto and have these settings in there, and then you can also have manual and have them in here. The camera resolution, it's 13 megapixel, but it's automatically set to 10 megapixel if you want to take 16 by 9 ratio pictures, or you can change it to 13 megapixel as well. And then they have image quality, fine or standard. It comes with standard as default, but I changed it to fine, and I'll talk about that in a minute as well. Um, and then smart brightness turns on the full brightness when you turn on the camera. Um, that's a good feature to have, but takes a lot of battery, as you know. And then a lot of other features out there as well. So let me talk about the picture quality on this phone. So let me quickly go through the pictures that I've taken. Just quickly talk about the camera quality on this phone. So first off, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to tell you that it's not the best camera out there. If you're buying this phone for camera, please don't. It's not a good camera phone. But it does take decent pictures. It's better than the Nexus 5 for sure, and it does capture pictures relatively quickly as well. But I'll talk about that in a minute as well. So this was a picture I took in auto mode. It came out really well. This is also in auto mode, but the picture is not as good as the first one here. This one also was in auto mode, and there's a lot of detail, but it's really grainy as well. Same thing here. This was kind of a low light picture, but I took it in auto mode, and it came out okay. So now this at night I was taking this picture, and it suggests you to turn on low light. There's an owl mode, and it brightens up the picture, which I don't like the result. It's really blurry and uh, doesn't really come out with good pictures. This was in HDR mode. This was again blurry just because there's a lag between when you take a picture with HDR mode. And surprisingly, the auto mode came up with a better picture than the other two. I mean, this is more bright, yes, but this is also blurry. So there's that. This picture was in low light as well. This was in HDR and this was in auto mode. Personally, I feel the auto mode does a really good job in capturing pictures. You don't even need HDR because most of the pictures came out better in auto mode than in HDR. but the only downside is the pictures come out really grainy and there's a lot of a loss in detail. It does focus fast. That's the only thing that the phone would do, and capture pictures really quick. But other than that, it doesn't really have a good camera. And then I'm going to talk about this picture here. This was, I took this picture today, and surprisingly, this picture came out really, really good. This was in HDR mode, captured a lot of detail and extremely well colored. And then there's a super resolution mode that I was talking about before. This is even better. Uh, it gives you a lot more detail and you can zoom in a lot more. It's much higher resolution than the regular pictures that you can take. But here's the thing with the HDR picture, this is what happened. This is what I noticed. If you can see this small um, line behind the houses, I don't know why that came up. It was really odd, but it did that with the HDR mode. And then this is the auto mode. So I can't really tell much difference between these pictures. They're all really, really good. I like the super resolution picture much better because of the detail and the quality of this picture. And then this was a close-up. This was in the HDR mode. Look at how grainy this area is. I mean, that's just bad. And also, it wasn't raining, but it was really gloomy. And look at the clouds. The picture, what happened to the details in the cloud picture? So that was something really for me to notice as well. And this happened in HDR mode. Um, Super resolution also did that, but it was less worse than what HDR did. And then this was in auto. Auto took the picture. So here the trees, if you look at them, you can't really capture the colors in the image, but the HDR mode did do that well. So that there's that. Sometimes it's really odd. Sometimes it'll take good pictures, sometimes it won't. This was an indoor picture, not low light, it was just medium light coming from outside. This one was again HDR. It was, um, sorry, here we go. Just gonna, so I think the picture was decent. It could have been better. There's a lot of detail missing in the picture. It has a 13 megapixel back camera, so I was hoping for much better pictures from this. And this one is again auto mode. Also, I should talk about the performance of this device as well. The phone does come with a Snapdragon 615 processor and 3 GB of RAM, and it does really well on day-to-day usage. I don't have any problems using the phone. The browser is fast, switching between applications is fast. It opens apps really quickly as well. So it does perform well. There's not too much lag, but it does stutter from time to time, but expecting from a 199 device, I think it's reasonable. But overall, the performance is really, really good. However, if you're expecting to play some high-end games such as Nova 3 or Asphalt 8, it's not going to be the device for those games. It will lag a lot during those games. But if you're playing regular games, that are not really high-end, mid-end games should be really fine, and they work really well on this phone. So you don't have to worry about that. The next thing is talking about the phone quality. The call quality on this phone is good. It's really decent, and I haven't had any problems with that until so far. So the last thing I want to talk about is the battery life. The battery life on this phone is decent. It's much better than the Nexus 5 that I've had previously. Um, uh, it gives me a screen on time of approximately about 4 hours. I would say 4 hours. Yes, I've charged it up to about 60%. I've used it for an hour already, and I can probably get another hour out of it. I have 34% battery left right now. But I should mention that it takes forever to charge. It will take up to 3 hours to charge, and that's a really, really long time compared to some other phones that can charge in an hour or an hour and a half, maximum two. 3 hours is a really long time to charge, and it doesn't support quick charging either. So even if you have a fast charger, it's not going to take it's not going to charge quickly. So that's something to consider as well. So with that, I conclude my review for the Zenfone 2 Lizard phone. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comments. I'll try to answer them as soon as possible. If you're looking for specific things that you want me to review or look into, I can definitely do that. Please don't forget to hit the like button, and please also subscribe to my channel, and I will continue to make some good videos for you. Thank you for watching. Take care. Bye bye.